Well, good afternoon. I'll try not to be long because I know it has been a very intense day, but very interesting at the same time. It's good to know that we have the new baby born as the grant agreement for eFTI4LIVE, but we also, our main coordinator is not here, Ángel Soret, because he's going to be fathered next week or this week. So we are going to have two baby borns. And so my name is Maria. I'm there just 2 words to introduce myself. I manage the unit responsible for multimodal planning and coordination and logistics at the Ministry of Transport, and we are co-coordinating the eFTI4LIVE project with Ángel Soret, who is responsible for the unit that deals with, he's equivalent to the competent authority in the Ministry of Transport, and he is responsible for the FT implementation. So these are the 2 units in Spain that are co-coordinating the project. Well, it's an honor for me to be here, and I'm a bit overwhelmed with the responsibility of coordinating the eFTI4LIVE project, because what we've seen is that we need to make it like finally happen. So it's like it's like a carrera de relevos. I don't know how you call it when in the Olympic Games that you give the testigo to the other one, and so you're like the last one, and you cannot. You cannot fall. So, well, we'll try to do our best. It's clear that there was, of course, FT4EU and FT4All covered a lot of important parts of what we need to get the FT happen, but the FT regulation happened, but there was clearly a gap yet to be covered, because otherwise we won't be here. There are 54 partners in the eFTI4LIVE project, 18 member states involved in a project of 4 years duration and 48 million budget. So it is clear that we all consider that the FT regulation implementation is important for the competitiveness of our economies, because otherwise we won't be here. And it is also a proof that the other 2 projects are working, because otherwise we would not be starting a 3rd one. So what we have is Austria, Czech Republic, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, Slovenia, and Spain developing or further developing FT-Gate, and another 9 member states cooperating and participating together also with Norway. So we have Denmark, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovakia, and Sweden also as partners. Then what are the main gaps that we are covering in this nutshell? It is like we are trying to close the gaps in member state participation. There were still 4 member states that were not participating in the previous projects. I will mention later. We cover those gaps are the FT end-to-end pilots and interoperability testing with operational and interoperability testing mainly, then streamlining the certification process, okay? Then we will go through FT and ICT systems integration and development, both for gates and platforms. We will initiate the accreditation and certification process for FT platforms, establishing the necessary processes and ensuring a reliable future, which is what we've been discussing that we will need. Then will come in real-world implementation and go-live planning. And finally, we will try to apply all the governance process and implement governance procedures in pre-production operations. So we're somehow making the flower grow. This is the timeline, okay? Probably you already know, because most of you are already involved in the eFTI4LIVE, or are also involved in the eFTI4LIVE project. And the idea is to cover the Some of the actions are just finishing in one and continuing, in the other one. Others are covering gaps. And at the end, the idea is that by July 27th, 2027, we are ready to be fully operational with FT data exchange systems and try to finish the project with something that works smoothly and not just like that. So one of the main things from a coordination point of view for me was to understand the main focus of the three projects and the differences between them, because there are very strong synergy with the other two, but the FT4LIVE has its own scope and added value. I'm not going to go through the FT4All and FT4U ones because those are the ones that we've been seeing today, so you already know the main parts. But in FT4LIVE, we have Spain, Slovenia, Netherlands, and Czechia joining that were not participating in the previous projects, at least as beneficiaries. Okay, some of us were stakeholders, but not beneficiaries. And the idea is to improve mainly the enforcement capabilities of the competent authorities. So we will be focusing on certification, production and interoperability validation, the support to co-production deployment, also for FT platforms, which is a very important part for it to work smoothly. And then the updates for data and reference implementation, which are already started in the other projects. And we will focus, of course, in a post-implementation governance model and training and go live, of course. Then there's also a continuity among the different deliverables, not only the actions, okay? There are some examples like in the system specifications, where we start with the definition, then we test, and then we implement the interface control document, for example. I'm not going to. And then what is the Spanish side of FT4LIVE? I wanted also to share this with you. Okay, there's a strong involvement of the Spanish stakeholders. There's the Ministry of Transport coordinating, but there's also the ADIF, which is the Rail Infrastructure Manager. There's also Puertos del Estado, which is the National Ports Agency, coordinating, ensuring that what we do is the AFT is also coordinated with the maritime single window and with all the logistic chain. Then there's the three ports involved, two ports involved, Huelva and Valencia. I thought we had a third one. And Fundación Valencia Port, which will help us with the coordination together with the EE team, of course, who you already know. And Miguel is here. I would also like to, please stand up, because I want them to see your face, because, in the future, he will be helping us with the coordination. And Alfonso is also a member of working for the ministry. He's a member of my team. And then we will have the Spanish accreditation body, which I think is a very important part in order to, and we'll try to involve also the European consortium, which is, it's not a consortium, it's association. It's of accreditation, which I think is an important partner. And on the activities side, what I would like just to end saying that is the FT4LIVE is not an isolated project for Spain. Okay, we have the paperless freight transport by 2030 was one of the milestones that was included in our national strategy. It is also made compulsory in our regulation. We are in the final steps of the approval of our mobility law. I'm saying things that are not exactly what is in the slide, but I didn't send the last one, sorry. So the Sustainable Mobility Law will establish an electronic administrative control document as compulsory, like in 10 months. So if it is approved by the end of the year. So in Spain, it will not be just a volunteer, okay? and that is a big support to this project, and this is also the reason why we need to move on, and we need to guarantee that we have a strong system. And there's also modification to the land transport regulation that we have that establishes that digital document is not going to, cannot be a PDF like that. I mean, the control document, the transport operators will need to interact with a platform sending data, okay, not just carrying a scanned document. So this is the main regulatory push from our regulatory side that we think we have. And then in order to make that possible, we are using our simple platform, which is already operating, but with a very initial stage, and that will be used and further developed to become an FT platform and also the base for the FT gate. Because what we consider is that for SMEs, we need, as national authority, we need to give them an alternative in case they are not enough digitalized. Okay, so that is the reason why we developed Simple. And so together with all the private platforms that already are ongoing and that will be certified, and the national administration will be able to give to have, you know, an alternative. And well, that is more or less what that is our involvement. That is what we want to do. We hope to see you all next week in Madrid, or most of all of you, and continue working together.